It's time for our first My Hero Academia video with the new studio. You know what that means. It's time to suit up in my hero attire. Ta-da-da! Ha-ha-ha! See? This is the magic of the studio, and also jump cuts. I could go back and forth to the Tekking101 closet of awesomeness. Aha! Whoo! La Tekking! La Kimono Tekking! Whew. Fourth Hokage Tekking. I didn't even know I owned this. It's so cool when you're unpacking everything and it's like, yeah, you know what? Actually, this has nothing to do with My Hero Academia, but screw it. This is my hero outfit. I feel awesome in this thing. Okay. So, yeah, but today, talking about My Hero Academia, and more importantly, the reveal of the #1 hero in the US of A. And my god, Horikoshi, you know how to make me patriotic. I don't think I've been more patriotic for this country than reading the last 2 chapters of My Hero Academia, a manga from Japan. Because he's like, all right. We've heard before plenty of times that the United States is like the homeland of heroes in My Hero Academia. It might very well be where the profession of heroes began initially, okay? And so, of course, you know, you got like Superman and everything in the DC comic universe. So it's like that translates kind of into the My Hero Academia universe, where like the first ever hero might have been like a Superman-esque hero. And I know All Might himself is sort of like Superman-esque in his own right, but like that first hero might have very well come from the United States, okay? So it's like, all right, the current #1 hero of the United States of America is Star and Stripe, not Stars and Stripes, and that still bugs the crap out of me, because the first translation of the chapter I read was, you know, #1 hero from the US of A, Stars and Stripes, and I'm like, oh, that's perfect, great. But no, the actual translation, the official one, is just Star and Stripe. Singular, not plural. So that still bugs me. I'm still probably going to call her Stars and Stripes just because that's the saying, you know? But no, it's just like, all right, we have a sexy muscle waifu Roll 63 All Might, pretty much, that has long hair and a ridiculously broken quirk and dresses pretty much like All Might, riding on stealth bombers that can fire laser beams in the upper atmosphere, you know, launching an attack against Tomura Shigaraki or All for One, or whoever you want to call this individual now at this point. That's how you do it. That's how you introduce, that's how you lead into like the final part of this story. That's the best way to do it, okay? Okay, so we're not going to be doing reviews of the chapters, so to speak. We're just going to talk about the insanity of what's going on here and what's going to happen next, okay? First thing I should bring up, because I just found out about this like today when I was researching it, did you know that Star and Stripe has actually already appeared in the My Hero Academia anime? Not the anime, but the movie. The first movie, Two Heroes, that focused a lot on the past of All Might with like David Shield, you know, his young age going to the US and training there and everything like that, and David was sort of like his gadget guy and everything. He made the supercars for All Might in California and everything like that. Yeah, there's actually a scene in the movie where All Might, you know, stops some villains and saves some people in a car, and in this last chapter we actually find out that was Star and Stripes. That's her origin story, that she was a little kid with her little sister in the car, and, you know, it got attacked by villains on their way to Santa Monica, California, and All Might, an exchange student from Japan, had just arrived, and he saved them, you know, defeated the villains, and this little girl was just like enamored with All Might, like, I'm gonna grow up to be just like that person, you know, that's my role model. And so she did, and so she modeled her outfit and even her hairstyle after All Might's outfit. And yeah, we see them in the movie, so that's crazy. That's great, because I have a feeling Horikoshi did not plan that when the movie came out. I mean, it's possible he might have, like, he directly told the animation department, like, make sure to include this scene right here. But I think that what would be even cooler is if Horikoshi went back and looked at the movie, and he just pointed at these 2 random civilians, like the character designs from the movie, and he's like, you know what, I'm gonna make one of those characters into Star and Stripe. Like, why not? You know, it's a character that's already seen, it ties back into the lore and everything, why not? Just go ahead. Although it's possible Horikoshi might have planned the whole thing out from day one. But anyway, yeah, so that was an interesting little piece of trivia. And so she is arriving in Japan to be like the reinforcements, so to speak. You know, there's a lot of like international bureaucracy going on here right now, where a lot of other heroes really want to go to Japan, because this opens up so many, like possibilities for the My Hero Academia world. And it's also great because the movie is coming out, World Hero Mission, I forget exactly what it's called. It's actually being released in American theaters the last weekend of October, so I'm going to see it if one of my theaters around here is playing it. I'm going to go check it out. Definitely, I'll see it if I can. But it's great because it's opening up the concept of, like, there are different countries that all have different ranked heroes, okay? There's a #1 hero from Egypt, a #1 hero from Singapore, a #1 hero from Germany, or the UK, or the United States, All Might was a great hero, and he was a role model to a lot of heroes all over the world, because he served as the pillar of peace, but only in Japan. See, that was the question I had for a while there. Like, All Might was always talked about as being like this amazing hero. There's no other hero that even approaches him. He was the one that was single-handedly holding up the world with his mighty muscles. So I always was wondering, like, are they talking about the world in general? Like, All Might changed the world? Or is he there? They're only talking about Japan. And from what we find out from All For One, actually, directly in the last chapter, yeah, it was only Japan. He mentions that there's plenty of other nations out there in the world that have crime syndicates, that are running rampant, okay? Some countries' heroes are better at, quashing the crime. Quashing, that's a term, right? That's a Pokemon move. I also think it's a legal term, but I think it is applicable for right now. Quashing crime and everything like that, and villains in the world. All Might was the best at it when it comes to, like, Japan. So I'm sure there's probably some sort of statistic in the My Hero Academia world, like, the proportional number of heroes in any given country, and then like the proportional villain activity in said country. And I would imagine in Japan it would be like the hero activity is very high and the villain activity is very low because of All Might's influence. Now recently that was probably thrown all out of whack, but for like a good number of decades All Might was the one that was, suppressing crime in that country, okay? But the rest of the world is very different. So there's a lot of like, like debate on whether or not, like, okay, should we send these heroes? Because if every country just sends their #1 heroes, or not even their #1s, but like anybody in the top 10 to another nation, kind of throws their balance of power out of sync. All right, so they can't protect their own nations from like villains, or villains from like other nations might invade. It's actually something that actually is rather appropriate when it comes to Naruto, because Naruto, you have the tailed beasts, the Biju, and they were kind of distributed to all the different villages in Naruto. Oh my god, how did Minato sit down? They're kind of distributed to all of the different villages in Naruto as sort of like a balance of power, similar to like nuclear weapons in our worlds kind of thing. Think of that like the Biju in Naruto and the heroes in My Hero Academia, right, Barry? Of course. So there's a lot of heroes that want to go to Japan, but they can't because of like just like politics of the day that are blocking them. But not Star and Stripe, man, not Star and Stripe. She immediately hears that All Might is in trouble, and she probably like picks up the phone and is just like, okay, can I go? He's like, well, we have to fill out some paperwork, click, and then she hops on her stealth bombers and just flies across the Pacific. Yep, God bless you, Star and Stripe, my country, 'tis of thee. There we go. That's great. That's fantastic. Okay, so let's talk about Star and Stripe. That sounds so weird. Star and Stripes. So it would be singular star and then plural stripes quirk. Star and Stripes quirk. Okay, that sounds really weird to me, but whatever, I'll continue. Why not? Okay, so, New Order is the name of this quirk. Now, okay, so quirks in My Hero Academia, some of them are weird. Some of them are really weird, sort of esoteric kind of abilities that would honestly be more suited to like JoJo's, like stand abilities. Star and Stripes New Order is definitely one of these in the latter category. Like, we have quirks that like Kirishima's hardening, that just makes him really, really hard, man. Ojiro has a tail. Hagakure is invisible. Even like Hawks' fierce wings, which by the way, I was listening to Cheap Trick the other day, and Mighty Wings comes on, and I'm just like, Why wasn't that the name of Hawks' ability? That would be going quirk with, not quirks, stand with it. But like Mighty Wings, why not? It's Fierce Wings. I guess they're both applicable. But yeah, you know, like even that though, like he has wings and he can fire the wings and the feathers of the wings and he can control them with like telepathy. I'd be like, okay, that's, you know, a little bit of a strange power, but not really all that out there. It's not really bending the laws of physics or anything in the process. But yeah, when it comes to Star and Stripes New Order, no, it does do that. It just, she takes the laws of physics and just crushes them in her mighty muscled arms. Oh man, if we could have a fight scene with Star and Stripes and Mirako together. Yeah, okay, Horikoshi, get on that. Not just for me, but for the fans, Horikoshi. For the fans! Okay, anyway. No, this is an ability that really is like a stand power, where what she does is she calls out the name of something while touching it, and then she can impose a new role, apparently any role possible, anything she can come up with, anything she can verbalize, and then the new rule will take effect with that said object. Not even an object, like she does it with air. So the first thing she does is she grabs the air around her because she's standing on top of a bomber plane or whatever, a jet. She grabs it and she's like, the atmosphere or the air will cease to exist 100 meters in front of me. So not only is it something she's physically touching, but also has a really long range. Because it's like, hey, the air is sort of around me. The atmosphere is around me. All I have to do is air, stop existing 100 meters over there. Like, how long is the range? Could she grab the atmosphere and be like, the atmosphere 500 miles over there will cease to exist? Like, is there a range for it? Because technically she's touching, at any given time, she's touching the atmosphere of the entire planet. If you're going with such a broad term of that, anyway. So the new rule she imposes then becomes a reality immediately. So she grabs the atmosphere, and then the atmosphere around Shigaraki just vanishes. So it becomes a vacuum, and he begins to suffocate, okay? And he can't use airwalk because he's not on air anymore. It's a vacuum, okay? So he begins to fall. Now, there are drawbacks to this quirk, thankfully. One of them is that she can only use it on 2 objects at a time, or 2 things at a time. So and basically it only means she only has 1, because the other one that she uses always at any given time is strengthening herself, because she also has super, you know, strong, well, not just strength, but also, like, she's able to stand on top of a jet and fly across the Pacific Ocean at crazy breakneck speeds of, like, over Mach 1. Like, they gotta be going fast. It's a damn jet that can fire lasers. That'll be important later on. But, you know, so she's able to stand there, so maybe she just, like, imposed the rule on herself, like, she said her name. We still don't know her actual name, but she said her name, and she's like, you know, my physical stats are increased 100-fold. Oh, actually, there are limits. There are limits to what she can and cannot do, because one thing she does confirm is that when she uses her super strength, she's not as strong as All Might. Like, she's really, really strong. Like, if you get a punch from her, it's gonna knock your block off, but it's not, like, ridiculously powerful like All Might's, like, you know, United States of Smash or anything like that. So you'd think that if she could just, you know, if the rules were limitless, if she could just say, you know, I have the power to bench press the moon, or I have the ability to just, like, look at somebody and blip them out of existence, you know, like, that would be what she would be doing. She doesn't do that, so there are limits. But even with the stuff that we've seen, being able to erase the atmosphere and turn it into a vacuum 100 meters away from you, that's pretty damn effective. Being able to stand on top of a jet and just fly across an ocean, just like the wind flowing, da-da-da-da, you know, just flowing in the air. I wish I had a fan I could just blast myself with, you know? That's still pretty damn good, okay? So, we also see some cool stuff with Shigaraki, or All for One here. I bring that up because that's also going to be relevant on exactly what the name of this character is now. He is no longer Tomura Shigaraki, or All for One. He is something beyond. Plus ultra, sort of, actually, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, so she touches Tomura, and says his name and says, like, you know, Tomura. This is the one thing about the chapter I was a little bit like, okay, you could have come up with maybe some more clever things about this, but the way she says it is, if Tomura Shigaraki moves an inch or something from this location, his heart will stop. Okay, so couple of things here with that. Number one, why did you have to impose the rule of
if he moves? Was that just Star and Stripe being lenient, being a hero? Because, she was really pissed off that, this was the person that, decimated Japan and also took out All Might. So you'd think, like, she touches Tomura, says Tomura Shigaraki's heart will stop in, like, 1 millisecond, and just, there you go, done, right? Does she have to impose, like, if they do this, then this happens? Like, is that how the rule works? Because that's not how it worked with the atmosphere. It's just like the atmosphere will vanish 100 meters from here, boop, and just gone, right? So that doesn't seem to be the issue. That might have just been her being lenient. I'm not sure. Also, the heart thing is, like, if Tomura was a regular person, sure, but, like, Tomura is well beyond the respects of a normal human being at this point with all the modifications that's been done to him by the doctor, plus the presence of All for One, just the quirk itself, okay? So stopping his heart would probably not kill him, or he might have some other quirk that would allow him to restart his heart. Like, stopping your heart is a dangerous thing, but it wouldn't, like, immediately kill you. Okay, and so that would give him more than enough time. So a lot of people, I actually saw people saying, like, what about if she uses the ability of, like, hey, new order to Tomura Shigaraki, if he attempts to use any quirk, the quirk will be negated, or he will be unable to use quirks for, I mean, she probably wouldn't be able to say, like, locking down his quirks for the rest of time, but, like, Tomura Shigaraki will be unable to use any quirks whatsoever for the next 5 minutes, or 1 minute, or 30 seconds, or however long she can impose a time limit. Any one of those would be pretty good, because, that would be the case. Or, I mean, I guess you could just go, this isn't very heroic, but you could just be like, Tomura Shigaraki's entire body will explode into tiny atoms in exactly 1 millisecond. Or if he moves, his entire body will explode. Every cell will explode. Like, that would be another thing, too. Like, no, Tomura just turns into the T-1000 and just gloops back together. Like, that was one of his quirks. One of my quirks was liquid metal. Like, that's all it was there. Oh, man. So there was a bunch of other ways that people threw out, like, okay, what if she could have done this or this? I'm not sure. There's also the possibility Star and Stripe wanted to interrogate Tomura, so didn't want him to, like, die right then and there, but she's still, like, really pissed at him. So there's maybe other abilities that she could have used. Now, it didn't work anyway, because it was revealed Tomura's name is not Tomura anymore, because the identity got meshed. All for One's personality and Tomura's are in there kind of fighting with each other still. It was revealed in the last chapter. They're about at 98-99% capacity, so we're getting into mob psycho territory here. We're getting very, very close to 100% perfected being, but Tomura is still resisting. Honestly, the way I think it's gonna go is I think Tomura is going to win out. I think All for One is thinking that he's in so much control right now, like he's going to be the one to take over the body, and it's looking that way. But then, boom, at the last minute, it's going to be like Tomura is going to be the one to shift the balance and twist the scale over, and he's going to be the one in complete control of the body. They'll still be considered a different entity, but it'll be the case there, okay? Now, when it comes to the end of the chapter, the finale, where Tomura, or All for One, whatever you want to call him, gets back up and he's, like, unaffected by New Order and then reaches out to attack Star and Stripe, and then boom, there's a big shock in the sky and the chapter ends. Okay, so I'm pretty damn sure Horikoshi would not do this. This would be very, very, very... I cannot over-explain how lame this would be if he did this, okay? If he just revealed this character, really cool quirk, really overpowered quirk from the United States, and then immediately has it stolen by Tomura. That would be ridiculously lame. Okay, now obviously All for One wants her quirk, because as he said, her quirk is super powerful, it's very broken, but if I get my hands on it, then that's it. That's all she wrote. I literally control the world at that point, because you can imagine all the horrible things that this quirk could do if it was in the hands of a villain, right? Like, you could literally just touch a building and just be like, the building will turn to rubble, and just the whole building collapses. Or you could literally touch a city, and just, if you're strong enough, you'd be like, this city lights on fire. And then, like, that would be insane. Like, it would be ridiculous powerful. You could do the whole heart-stopping thing to heroes and all that. Oh, by the way, before I get distracted too much, when there was like a hero from the United States mentioned to be coming to Japan, a lot of people were thinking it was actually going to be Captain Celebrity from... Oh, wait, hold on! I have a bookshelf! Let's see, where is he? He was actually on the cover. Here he is, right here, yep. Captain Celebrity! From My Hero Academia Vigilantes, right there. There's the man. Well, that's Best Genus, but there's the man right there. So I like to think, because Vigilantes is the prequel to My Hero Academia, I like to think that Captain Celebrity is maybe not in the top 10 Billboard charts of the United States, but he's up there. Because, you know, he was kind of an idiot. Not really an idiot, he was just very boastful. His name was literally Captain Celebrity. You can imagine the kind of character he was at first. But after meeting everybody here and, like, changing his ways, he goes back to the U.S. after having a little bit of a vacation in Japan, after, like, learning what it means to be a hero from Koichi and everything. And so he goes back, and I like to think he's probably within, maybe he's, like, number 14 or 15 on the Billboard charts right now in the States. So he is a popular hero. He might have changed his outfit or whatever. But I didn't think he would be coming to Japan. But that would be pretty cool if he gets mentioned at some point, because Captain Celebrity was great in Vigilantes. Go and pick it up. It's awesome. But no, I think what's going to happen is she's going to get away. She's going to escape. They're going to be separated or whatever. She's going to jump on, because I don't think she can fly. That's why she was on one of the jets. So she's going to jump back on one of the jets. It's going to make, you know, it's going to land in Japan. They're going to meet Endeavor and Genist and Hawks and everybody at the meeting point. She's going to be all, you know, her outfit's going to be burned off or whatever after fighting Tomura. But she's still going to have her quirk. And then she's going to, you know, work and collaborate with the Japanese heroes in order to bring them in. I'm not saying it might not happen where she'll get her quirk stolen. In fact, I honestly think after setting up this quirk and how powerful it is, that is going to happen at some point. Just, it can't happen right now. She was just introduced. That would be so lame. So allow her to, like, escape Tomura, reach Japan, and then, you know, we get to see her quirk in action a little bit more. Maybe she takes out some members of the League, or she fights against Giganto Machina or somebody like that. And then maybe later on in the story, that's a moment when, you know, she was caught off guard or something, and then All For One takes her quirk, and it's like, oh no, we're really in the deep shit now. Something like that, I think, would make way more sense for the story. So we'll see what Horikoshi has in mind. But man, I love her character, and I cannot wait to see more of Star and Stripe. Okay, and so to end out the video, I do have a little bit of a capybara fact here for you. It's not much of a capybara fact, but I do have one, and it's the fact that they're very chunky. They're very heavy, heavier than you'd imagine. Okay, looking at an adult capybara, so there's like some little baby capybaras, and then an adult mommy capybara, and then there's also a little lizard off to the side. But look at the capybaras. Focus on the capybaras. How heavy do you think an adult capybara gets? Well, actually around 50 kilograms or 110 pounds, and those are for males. The females can range even higher than that, up to like 120, 130. And so that's crazy, because that's roughly around what I weigh. And just the idea, because remember, capybaras are part of the rodent family, so just the idea that a rodent in the world can weigh as much as I do, that's an interesting fact. I thought that was at least worth a capybara fact. It's not very long, but there you go. Oh, I forgot to do the theme song. I apologize. Capybaras, they are so cute. Capybaras, they like to eat fruit. Capybaras. I still have to unpack my fishing boots. Capybaras today. Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's all coming along here very nicely. I want to show you guys something. I'm not really sure how well that looks. I got to experiment with lighting a little bit, because I have this really big ceiling fan light bulb thing up there. You can kind of see it. See, it's got like 4 bulbs up there, and that's actually cool, because I actually can change it to only like 2 on at the same time, or 3 on at the same time. This area over here is like whoa. This area over here, this is my computer tower, but like is like a little alcove area where I'm going to be filming. This area over here does not have any lighting though, as you can see, but it does have a drop ceiling, so I might get some recessed lighting in there at some point. It's not that hard to put in. You know, it's best for a drop ceiling anyway, and so I can have extra lighting over there in the corner. So I just have my studio lights on right now, but it's pretty good. And so I'm still going to put up like the posters and everything for the straw hats over there. But it's coming along nicely. Yeah, just every video, more or less. I've unpacked more boxes, got some funny hats. I see my Ash Ketchum hat over there and everything. So, yeah, it's coming along nicely. Thanks to you all for your patience. This will be Tekking and Barry signing out. Later, everyone.